Shall we begin, Herr Marx? I understand you have grievances with my philosophy.
Grievances? You built the intellectual foundation for a system that devours the very people who sustain it. The free market you celebrate is freedom for the few and chains for the many.
And yet, consider the world my ideas helped build. Before markets flourished, most of humanity lived in absolute poverty. The baker does not make your bread from benevolence, he does it from self-interest. And that self-interest, guided by competition, has fed more people than any charitable scheme in history.
Fed them or exploited them. Your beloved Industrial Revolution filled the factories of Manchester with children. 10-year-olds working 16-hour days, losing fingers in cotton mills, while factory owners built estates in the countryside. Is that your invisible hand at work?
I never endorsed cruelty, Marx. I warned against monopolies, against merchants conspiring against the public. But here is what you refuse to see. Those abuses were corrected, not by revolution, but by reform within the system. Factory laws, labor unions, democratic accountability. The market adapts, it evolves, it self-corrects.
Self-corrects? Tell that to the workers of the Paris Commune, shot in the streets for daring to demand dignity. Tell that to every nation where your so-called free market has produced billionaires and beggars living on the same block. The wealth of your system is not shared, it is hoarded. Capital accumulates at the top, and misery accumulates at the bottom. That is not a flaw in the system, that is the system.
And what is your alternative? I have studied your proposals, Marx. A dictatorship of the proletariat, central planning, state control of all production. Tell me, how did that function in practice?
Do not throw the failures of Stalin at my feet. The Soviet experiment was a betrayal of my vision, not a fulfillment of it. I wrote about workers owning the means of production, not a bureaucratic elite replacing the capitalist one. But let me ask you this, Smith. In your system, right now, in the wealthiest nation on earth, millions cannot afford medicine. They work 2 jobs and still cannot pay rent. Families choose between heating and eating. Where is the invisible hand for them?
Those are real failures, and I will not dismiss them. But consider the broader evidence. In 1820, 90% of the world lived in extreme poverty. Today, under market economies, that number is below 10%. China, ironic as it may be, lifted 800 million people out of poverty, not through pure communism, but by introducing market reforms. South Korea, once poorer than North Korea, flourished under markets, while the North starved under central planning. The evidence is not ambiguous, Marx.
You cite statistics. I cite human beings. Your numbers hide the fact that inequality within those nations has skyrocketed. The top 1% now owns more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. You have created a world where a man can own a rocket ship while his warehouse workers wear diapers because they are not allowed bathroom breaks. Your system creates wealth, Smith. I will grant you that. But it distributes it with the conscience of a wolf.
Perhaps we are both right about what is broken. I see that unchecked markets can become as tyrannical as any king. You see that unchecked states can become as oppressive as any capitalist. The question is not whether we need markets or justice. We need both.
On that, we may agree. But the struggle is who decides. In your world, the market decides, and the market has no morality. In mine, the people decide, collectively, democratically.
And in the real world, perhaps the answer lives somewhere between our visions. Regulated markets, strong institutions, a system that rewards ambition but refuses to abandon the vulnerable.
You have grown wiser than your book, Smith.
And you are more reasonable than your reputation suggests, Marx.
The debate is never over, old man. Every generation must fight it again.
Then let them fight it with ideas, not with blood.